Welcome and thank you for joining us at our first of our new technology webinar series, which we're focusing on Outlook 2016. Obviously, this is one of many, so we'd be interested in feedback at the end of the session. Feel free to reach out to the email address, which will be published at the conclusion. I'd like to hand over to Melanie. She'll be our presenter for today, and we look forward to assisting you in the future.
Thank you. Welcome, everybody, and thanks for joining us in this awesome webinar. So most people know about Microsoft Outlook. It's had many, many iterations over the years, but in particular, I think with 2016 and the whole integration with Office 365, Microsoft's really sort of taken their sort of email program out to the next level. So first off, for those of you that maybe are not familiar with Outlook, what is Outlook? Well, it's an email program. It's been out for over almost 15 years. But what's cool about it is it's been very heavily used by corporations, businesses, but over time, Microsoft's tried to sort of let home users use it as well, but I found, again, with 2016, they've really sort of taken a lot of the features that were sort of exclusive to businesses and given it to personal use. But again, this has opened it up for small businesses, medium businesses that maybe couldn't have in the past afforded the enterprise level Outlook and all the sort of features that came along with it. So what's cool about it is it also it's integrated with a calendar feature. So we're going to go through some of those features today. So what are some of the reasons why you should use Outlook? Well, because it's Microsoft, it's integrated with the rest of Microsoft's products. So you'll see it's very easy to sort of bring in Word, bring in Excel. There's also a program called OneNote, which is sort of an organizational program that's like linked right into Outlook. It also has the opportunity that you can actually centralize all your email addresses. So say you have a Gmail account, you have a Hotmail account, you have a business email, whatever at your business. So you have all these different email addresses and you go to all these different web interfaces to try to access your email. Well, great. Like Outlook allows you basically to link up to all those different email addresses and organize them, sort them, and manage them all in one place. And what's great too, again, is the fact that Microsoft's really pushing hard to have a sort of similar experience across many platforms. So you can load Outlook on your phone, on your tablet, on your laptop, and so everything synchronizes, so it's all the same, it all works and functions the same. As I mentioned, it has that a calendar feature as well as a task manager, which we'll talk a little bit about. And like I said, over time, because it's been a very sort of business, heavily used by businesses, there are a lot of features in there that Microsoft has sort of put in there to help, manage meetings, manage people's time, make it faster, easier to sort of create more complex emails, embed documents, all that kind of stuff. So we're going to look into some of that right now. Let's jump into the demo, fancy dancy. Okay, so it's going to jump into the this is the Outlook interface. You'll see that there's a pane here that can be moved so that you can actually read your emails, the opened emails. Here you have all your particular emails that are coming in. On this side is sort of your main sort of control. Here is where you'll see your various email addresses. And then within each of these are all your folders for that particular email address. Along the top, very similar to many other Microsoft programs, you have sort of tab system with sort of larger tabs and sub-tabs at the top that you can navigate. And then as we jump in, you'll see, again, lots of similarities if you've used Word or Excel, again, any other Microsoft product, a lot of similarity in terms of where you find things and how the look and feel of this works. So I'm going to jump over. So I'm over here. We're going to jump into looking into the options, because basically to get started, I find, you have the opportunity to really customize Outlook to whatever you want it to be. So I'm going to go over to File, and you'll see here as well all these sort of features in terms of managing the actual account, like the actual email addresses, and we'll get a little bit more into that, but we're going to go along the side here to options. So this is going to give us a little pop-up window, and you'll see here lots of different options on the left, ironically, and within each of these tabs are a whole bunch of choices that you can go in and choose from. So the first one I just want to go to, because it's one I left my interface. This is a sort of default interface you see, which is, I think they call it colorful. I personally like dark gray, and you'll see after I okay it why I like it. There's a lot more contrast, and for the length of this webinar, I think it'll make it much easier for you to see what I'm doing. So let me just click OK again. And now, so you can see the difference here. So now we have a lot more contrast across the various panes. So I find that this, again, just easier to see. I'm going to jump right back into the file and go back into options, just to show you a few of the other things that you can customize. So beyond just the look and feel of it, you can go into the mail section, and you can, one I find very important that people often don't check, is you can make sure that it always checks your spelling of your emails before sending, just in case you didn't actually click spell check before. I also like the fact that you can create signatures so that automatically it will put in, if you want to put your name, your phone number, your company address, you can create these sort of signatures so you're not retyping the same information. And in some instances, you can actually set it that when you create a new email, that signature is automatically there. We'll do that a little bit later. You can also customize your font. So say you have a particular brand or you want your font to be bigger, like you just like bigger font, or you want font to be bolder. So you can customize really down to that type of level. I'm going to go down here as well, and just you can decide whether there's sounds when your actual emails come in. You can talk about sort of archiving. You can decide when you reply to something, does the actual text show up in the reply email? So there's a whole bunch of sort of areas you can customize when you're sending. What I love is the fact that you can also, in the sending area, you can decide whether or not things that are archived, how many days they can sit there. So you can set a bunch of sort of, and another one I find also very helpful to set up is tracking. So you can set up delivery receipts and read receipts so that when you send stuff to people, you know when they've opened it, which is always helpful. So yeah, lots of different options as you go all the way down. You also can customize the calendar portion of Outlook here, again, in terms of the look, the hours, as well as how it sort of functions, and as well the coloring and the look and feel of it. You also can decide how your various contacts show up in terms of the names. We're going to talk a little bit about tasks today. So here's some customization in terms of how your task manager works. And again, then if you work in multiple languages, like I'm in Canada, so for me, probably it'd be better to have, instead of Japanese, I'd probably be better to have Canadian and French. So yeah, you can go in here and add different languages depending on what your needs are. Great. So after you've sort of customized it based on what you like, let's go into actually working with Outlook. So up here in the top left corner, we have an option to create a new email. So you'll see here that it's already popped up my name and my title, the Presentation Diva. So that's my signature that I've already preset. So I'm going to show you right now how we do that. So in this open email, you'll see here there's a tab at the top called Signature. If I click on it, you'll see my Presentation Diva. And if I had many signatures, so say you want a signature for, when you talk to your vendors, and maybe you want a signature when you talk to your family, and so you have all these different signatures, you can really set up as many as you like. So let's go in and do that. So under signatures, and once I click on when I actually click on signatures, it pulls up a pop-up box. And here you'll see my one that I created before, but I can go and create a new one. And so this one, maybe I want to call this one personal. So this is the one that I want when I want to be just me. So we'll just call it Mel. And maybe this one I always want to have some sort of a quote, right? So I could add a quote underneath it. I could even add if there's a business card image that we wanted to add to it as well and you want it to show, you can even link to a particular website. So there's all these sort of additional pieces. Again, what it is to help you save time. I also love the fact now that Microsoft has figured out that you might need these signatures for different email accounts. So you'll see here that you can set these. Right now, these are signatures set for my Gmail account, but I could go ahead and set up different signatures for all my different email accounts. Pretty cool. So I'm going to click OK, and then I'm just going to delete this for now. And then you'll see here, after I've collected my email written my email, I can go in here and go to signature, and you'll see now I have a personal one and my presentation diva one. And or I can decide, no, I don't want that, and I'm going to put in my personal one. There we go. Pretty cool. You'll see as well that you can do, just like Word, it has a lot of the same functionality in terms of controlling the font. Up here, there's these sub-tabs. You can get into great detail in terms of the design of the actual email. You can even, there's templates that you can go in and get. So there's themes. So say if you wanted to have a particular look. So like really there's lots of different options. Oh, there's another feature here that can be really fun, especially if you're mailing to a large group of people, is the voting functions. So say you don't have a particular software for surveying, and maybe you just want to, whether it's personal, maybe you wanted to ask your family, which day is the best day for our family picnic, or maybe it's business related and you wanted to ask people, look, we need to pick a day for our annual general meeting, and I find that using these voting buttons, creating basically a little quick survey embedded in your actual email, and then you get all the results. So basically, as you send out your email, you could say which day for our meeting, and we're going to say customize it. So we could actually put in, we'll say March 20th, or we'll say March 21st. Oops. So here you see that it's been added. So what the people that you send your email to will receive is they'll get your email address or your email with all the information, but they'll also have this sort of piece at the top that will have the option to vote. It's really cool, really, really helpful. What else did I want to show you here in the features of creating your email? As well, you can actually, like I said, there's lots of options to add pictures, tables. You can even embed different documents right into it, like attachments, but you can even, in terms of, what's great is, again, they've gotten really smart. It will look at the recent attachments. So say that there's something that you've attached recently and you can get it really quickly. You can also create these quick items where if there's something that you attach on a regular basis, you can access it. So here's an example of that. It's pretty cool. It's called Quick Parts. So what you'll see here is I've created a quick part. So say, on a regular basis, people ask you, where is your company address? And you're just constantly typing it out. Or you have it in a signature, or maybe you constantly have a line that you explain to people what your product is about. So anyways, it's a piece of information that you're just constantly typing out over and over again. So again, Microsoft's gotten smart about the fact of, hey, how can we sort of make this easier for you in your email so you can create these quick parts? And what it does is, for me, I've created this address, so I was finding I'm always typing the same address, and you can have many of these quick parts, and you could choose it, and great, bam, it shows up in your email, and you don't have to keep retyping it. It's a great feature, really love it. Great, so we're gonna jump into, after you've created your emails, no, we're not gonna save this one, we gotta organize your emails. So over here on the slide I've mentioned, you can have basically areas for each of your various email addresses. You'll see here that I have one for my Gmail account, I have one for my main job at the Heart and Stroke Foundation, and then I also created one within an actual Outlook account. Now, what's cool, so within them, you actually have your folders. Now, I don't have many choices here with the Gmail because this is actually pulling the folders from my Gmail account. So I can't manipulate this one that much. But the Heart and Stroke one, because it is created within Office 360 and it's all synced up, it has some of the extra features that Microsoft offers. One, which is I can actually, in my inbox, create all of my various folders for all my information. Another thing that's really cool that they've included as part of Office 2016 is clutter. Now, most people would think that clutter is like spam or junk, but it's not. It's sort of like a low priority email, and this clutter, it remembers. So at first you need to kind of choose what stuff. So stuff will come into your inbox, and you can decide, could be your various shopping emails for all the various places you go. And again, you get on these distribution lists, you get tons of these emails. You're interested, but you're maybe not interested all the time. So I find I get tons of those emails, but again, I don't want to unsubscribe. They're not junk, but I just don't want them clouding up my email. So what's great is that as you keep moving them over into clutter, is that Outlook will learn that this is, again, less priority to you. Then, so these types of email. Now, again, it's not all. It doesn't necessarily mean that all these hot topic ones will go in here. It will decide. So again, it will learn over time. If you keep moving ones from a particular person here over and over again, then it will think, okay, yeah, maybe this person. But the one thing I want to assure you is, at least what I've been told, is that just because you move one email from one person over doesn't condemn them to always be in the clutter folder. Because that was the one thing I was asking, because you know how when sometimes you move someone to, like, by accident to the junk folder, your spam folder, they kind of get stuck there forever until you go there and find them and get them out of there. So so that was a cool feature, that again, that it's intelligent, that there's a bit of learning there, that you have to kind of keep moving stuff over for a while until Outlook gets the idea of what should be in this clutter. And again, it's not deleted, it's here. And then if for whatever reason you want to move it back, you just move it back into your inbox, so that, again, it knows, okay, no, it shouldn't be in the clutter folder. Great, so we have these various folders. Now, again, you have some additional abilities to create folders here. You can sort of sort them. Now, if you're starting to get a little bit, for me, it's getting a little crazy, it's getting lots of them, I might want to start archiving to help sort of save up some space. As well, when we get into sharing, there's an ability where you can basically delegate, either the people can view your certain email or send email on your behalf, say you're on vacation. So what's cool as well is there's some additional features for permissioning, so that if you needed to decide, okay, I want to grant access to this particular email to someone, you can go in and do that, which is awesome. Okay, so let's talk about the calendar aspect. So down here in the bottom left-hand corner, you'll see that there's some tabs here. So they kind of function, get you around the sort of main areas of Outlook. So we have, this is the area we're in the mail zone, where we do email. This is the calendar zone. We'll talk about sort of contacts and people. This is tasks, and then again, you can go in here and there's some additional, there's notes, and then there's folders. So, but for now, we're going to jump over to calendar. So what you'll see here is, right now it's showing me both my calendars, because I can decide, okay, show me all my calendars, because right now it's showing me my Heart and Stroke one and my Presentation Diva one. Or I can decide that, no, I just want to look at one and the other. I don't want to see them side by side. Sometimes people do, again, because if you're trying to manage your calendar across your various email addresses, it could be helpful. So I'm just going to move that back over there. Okay, so you can see here that we have all, you can see some of my meetings that are already here. Now, once you're actually, say you wanted to create a meeting, it's very easy. You can go in and create a new appointment. Now, what's cool is, I'm just going to, yeah, we'll change it from here. So once you've added someone, what's neat is that, again, if they're part of the whole Outlook server system and on Office 365, that when you can look at their calendars and coordinate. So I love using the scheduling assistant because it helps me see, it will bring up this person's calendar Oh, and my calendar. Oh, it's not working. Okay, let's try this again. Okay. Let's get out of here. No, don't change. Okay. I think I need to be here. Yes, I need to be here. No, we're not going to have a meeting on Sunday. Okay. So let's go back here and try Cheryl again. And I'm going to go to scheduling. And so it should pull up her calendar. Just thinking about it. There we go. Great. So I love this feature, very handy. It helps me see what this person, Cheryl's calendar looks like so that I can coordinate some spaces in between in terms of when's the best time for us to meet. And then their calendar, they can, block off days that they're away or they're out of the office and stuff so that people don't book meetings during that time. You can also coordinate so that people, I find it also very helpful that you can set reminders, pings that will tell people like 10 minutes, people are always arriving late to meetings. So I find putting either a 15-minute reminder, a 15-minute reminder before the meeting definitely helps people attend your meeting more often. Say you have a weekly meeting and you want it to happen over and over again. You can go in and decide when there's a reoccurring meeting. You can decide how often, weekly, what day it occurs on. And you can decide, is it like forever? Does it go on until you basically stop it? Or do you want it to go on until a particular time and date? Great. So I'm just going to close out of this. No, we don't want to save that. Great. So we're looking at the calendar here. You can also, as you see here, you have different views. You can look at your day, you can look at your work week, you can look at the month, you can look at particular scheduling based on your various email addresses as well. Oops, keeps putting me back in here. Let's go back to monthly, weekly. Great. So I'm here in my calendar. So I'm just going to go back to my email addresses for 1 second, email zone. So in my email address area, we're going to talk a little bit about contacts. So you saw there that I found someone on my list. Now, a lot of it depends on which account you're looking at. So for me, I'm looking at an account, again, that's part of the sort of Microsoft server. So it's part of a company, so they've already loaded a whole address book of everybody's email addresses. Now, say, for example, you didn't have that and you wanted to upload your own contacts into it and create your own email address. I'm going to move over here and go new email. We're going to go to address book. So here we can actually pick and choose from your address book. So here we see I can go in and look at contacts for all my various email accounts, but then I can also go into this particular computer if I had any actually listed in this computer. Let me go back to my file and close out of that. Sorry. All right, let's go back to account settings. Great. Okay, awesome. So say, for example, you are going on vacation and you have someone that you want to take care of your particular email while you're gone. There's some great features here to provide basically permission for people to get in. So once I've gone over to the file area, you'll see here there's a area called account settings. Oops, I have to be under, sorry, it has to be something associated with the Microsoft account or Office 360. So here under account settings, you'll see that I can drop down and I can do delegate access. So here I can go into the company's address book and find a particular person. I'll look for Cheryl again and add her and click OK. So once I click OK, I can decide what exactly I want Cheryl to have access to. Do I want her to have access to my calendar? And I can even decide what exactly she can do. I can give her access or not to my tasks. I can give her access or not to my emails, and so on and so on. And what's great too is that, say, for example, you can like say there's some private things. You can say, hey, no, I don't want them to see that stuff. And you can also help them understand, okay, before you leave for your vacation, it will send them an email explaining exactly what they have access to and how to access it, which is pretty great. So I'm going to say cancel because I don't want to grant access. And again, you can create this sort of list. Maybe one person is taking care of your calendar and another person's taking care of your email. So this could actually have a list of various people who would be taking care of your information. I'm just going to click cancel. Great. While I'm here, I'm just going to show you a few other elements as well. You have a tool setting that will tell you how much space you have left in your account. As well, we have out of office. Now, again, say you've granted access to people to take care of your calendar or your email account to reply, but you can also set up an out of office. And what's great about this is, so during a period of time, anybody that sends you an email will get this automatic reply that you could say, whatever, I'm out of the country, I have limited access to email, so it might take me a while to respond. So you could be very specific. You could say, send out automatic replies, send only during this time frame. Maybe you want to be specific. Maybe it's only for people during the day because you figure that they're business contacts, and in the evening it's probably personal. So you could be really specific here. And you can even be specific in terms of what the message is for someone inside your organization versus outside your organization. So then you could set that up, and it says, out of the office, will not respond. I wish we could say that. Never can do that. I'm going to click, and then, you can even go in and be very specific in terms of like the rules, in terms of when it happens. We're not going to get into that kind of detail, but they've really gotten specific that if you want to, if it's coming for certain people, certain companies, they say this, say that. So you can get down to the really nitty-gritty details if you are particular about what is being said while you're out of the office. So I'm just going to click OK. So now I'm saying the auto reply message is for outside and cannot be blank. Oh yeah, okay. So sorry. Outside my organization, no, just my contacts. I'm going to say I'm out of the office as well. Yay. Great. So you'll see here that now that this is bolded, just to remind you, and the nice thing though, it will keep telling you while you're in here and you start creating emails and stuff and try to send emails, it'll keep telling you that you have an out of the office message on, just so that I've had a few instances where I've come back and people have to tell me that my out of office is still on. So thankfully Microsoft has fixed that so that it's basically constantly telling you that it's on, so that you're not by accident telling people that you're out of the office when you actually are not. Great. So I'm going to move back over into the main email zone. So let's talk a little bit about tasks. Now you'll see here, we're going to go into this area. So tasks are basically like to-do lists, right? So you can create tasks within emails. You can create your own sort of task list. So there's just along the top, I'm going to say, need to get milk. So this you can be specific. You could put it in a category. You can color code it. And so you'll see here, mine's just a mega list. And then as I'm done, I like checking the box, check off the box. But you can go in and get specific in terms of prioritizing. Now, what's neat, I find neat about Outlook is they've sort of integrated this flagging and tasks with actual emails. So what you'll see is we'll go back to the file area. Oops. We'll go back to the emails right here. And we're going to go to this account. And we're going to create a new email. So I'm going to send it to myself so that I don't bug people at work. We'll say, All right. So I can create a follow-up within the actual email for someone. So say I really wanted Melanie, the other person, to go get milk. So I can actually add it in here and say a very specific custom. I can say, I can flag it to me. Which then if I flag it to me, it will end up on my list down here, which I showed you. Or I can flag the recipients, which will now show up on their list, which is very handy. So I could flag to myself, and I could change this to go pick up milk. And I could specify the date. And I could ping a reminder, say I want to tell myself the day before, the hour before, that kind of thing. It can be very specific. And I click OK. And then you'll see here that there's a flagged item. So when this gets sent to me, which you'll see momentarily, it will show up over here in this box. Then, yeah, see, it's right. Oops, no. So that's one I would put under. There we go. So you see Melanie has requested a read receipt. I sure did. So I'm going to open it up. And from here, now because it went to my Gmail account, Gmail doesn't really, again, is not part of the Microsoft family. So the whole task list doesn't really show up. But if it did, then it does, it would show up on my actual task list down here. But what you will see here, when we go back to the list, let's go by date, is you'll see need to get milk has been added that we added on before. Now you'll see one as well that I just added that I need to do for tomorrow, which is getting some sort of image for a client. So yeah, so these lists sort of, I find them, they just automatically show up for me as I continue to work within my email. I'm gonna jump back over. Delivery to these recipients or group are not complete. Oh, well, because Outlook doesn't like doing read receipts. So again, so this becomes a bit of the challenge between different programs. I find, and that's why I keep showing you this account, my Heart and Stroke Foundation account, because it is on the Microsoft server. So I find that Outlook really maximizes its functionality when it's on the Outlook server or on the Microsoft server. And when you're working with sort of in a business setting, it really sort of maximizes how it functions. Yeah, so those are sort of the main areas of how Outlook works. We're going to see if anybody has any questions. And while Stuart is looking for questions, I am going to just also point out, maybe for a future webinar, that Outlook has a really great, or Microsoft has a really great program called OneNote. It's sort of like an equivalent to Evernote. And you'll see here it's integrated right into Outlook, which is really great for sorting and information. So I see here, there's a question. Hello, is there a way as a meeting organizer to email only those that have not yet responded as opposed to everyone on the meeting request? Oh yeah, great. That's a great question. Let me just go over to my calendar and create, first I gotta create an email or a meeting event. So I'm just going to send it first to my one email account and we'll go sure. No location, no sub. It's just not very, it's just reminding me that there's not very much information. So that's fine. It should have had more information about it, but that's fine. Oh, it's overdue, it's already happened. That's okay. Anyways, I wanted to show you is once, maybe we should move it. Yeah, in the future. And send update. And send update. Send anyways. Okay, here we go. So say the question they were asking is, say I created an email or a meeting and I've now invited myself and now I want to invite my other self. So I'm just going to add my Outlook account email here, outlook.com. So I'm going to send update, send anyways. So what will happen is when you add a new email, Outlook knows that there's a new email there. So it will actually ask you, hey, do you want to send update to only the new person Or do you want to send it to all people? In this instance, I already sent an update to myself of what had been. So this update is actually just for the new person. And then off we go. And it's sent to the new person, which is great. And the same thing can happen the other way. So say, now I don't want the presentation diva to come to our meeting anymore. So I'm going to delete this person. And then I'm going to send an update. And it will ask me the same question. Do you want to send it to everyone? Or do I just want to send it to the person I deleted? In this case, I just really need to tell the person I deleted that the reason I need to send it to them is so that they take it out of their calendar and they don't show up. So we're going to go, okay, and then they get deleted off the meeting. And you'll see here, though, in my other calendar that meeting was showing up and the person hasn't accepted, which is pretty cool. All right, there's emails jumping all over the place. Let's move back to see if there's any more questions. I think we're good. Yeah, but if you did have, I'm just going to jump back to finish up in the email zone here. Yeah, and you'll see all these sort of replies back and stuff. Yeah, so I hope you got something out of this webinar. If you do have any additional questions, please feel free to contact Sydney Tech at info@sydneytech.au. And hope that you can join us if you have any feedback about this webinar or future webinars that you'd like to see, please let us know, and hope to see you next month. Thank you.